Earlier this week, Kamala Harris sat down with Tim Walz, did a full 20-minute interview on the most favorable network with the most favorable host. And once again, I guess I'm plugging part of the problem because we did a whole episode on that. There were two great moments in this interview that we did not talk about on the Part of the Problem show. And one of them happens to be what is actually one of my favorite jokes. It's actually a joke that I stole the structure from a friend of mine, and I use quite a bit, which is I have a friend, and a loose friend. Grew up with the kid, not that in touch with him, bit of a maniac. And my friend, one day, he decided that he was going to bike to Washington, D.C. from Stamford, Connecticut. Just on a whim. He just thought, you know what? It'd be fun to bike from Stamford, Connecticut to Washington, D.C. And so he looks at the map and he realizes that's a very long bike ride. It's going to take him a very long time. And what's the most direct route to get from Stamford, Connecticut to Washington, D.C.? And he realizes, he's a smart kid, it's on I-95. He realizes that if you're going to be biking in the evening hours from Stamford, Connecticut to Washington, D.C., and you want to take a well-lit route that is available to you in the evening hours and is the most direct route for such a long bike ride, I-95 is the way to go. And so my friend bikes I-95. He gets all the way to New Jersey biking on I-95. And at some point, a cop is driving on the highway and he sees a person just biking in the road and pulls him over. My friend gets pulled over biking on I-95. The cop pulls him over. And, you know, they like to, when they pull you over, they like to fix that hat as they get out of their car, get into character, and yell at you. That's what they like to do. And so the cop starts yelling at him. He goes, "What the hell are you doing? You're biking in the middle of the highway." And my friend goes, "I'm not biking on the highway. I'm on the side of the road." And the cop goes, "You weren't on the side of the road. I was just following you. You were biking in the middle of the highway." And my friend goes, "I can't be on the side of the road. Look at how much glass is over here." And when he told me, I laughed so because it's so funny to set something up that you said and then create like the other guy's crazy when it was what you said. I can't be on, like as if the cop suggested at least bike on the side of the road. He's like, "I can't be over here. There's glass on the side of the road." And Kamala Harris / the news pulled this exact thing. Where Kamala Harris, it's on her, listen, I don't care. Go run on your ideas. I don't care about what your racial identity is. I don't think that somebody should be president just because they're black, just because they're Jewish, just because they're white, just because they're a lady. I don't think that there's somebody out there who's trans and Indian and a lady, but a man sometimes, and also has ADHD and anxiety. And oh my God, think about how empowering this would be to everybody if we could cross off all these boxes. An Indian, trans, lady, dude sometimes with anxiety and ADD. Every single minority could feel like they're included if we could put this person up. I'm not playing racial politics. You weren't playing racial politics. We don't care about this stuff. We're like, get out there, tell us what your ideas are, and if it's not for socialism, price controls, bringing more people into the country, having more wars, we might go, hey, I like these ideas. If you get up there as a black trans Indian lady and goes, I want to get out, I want to end the Fed, I want to get rid of these wars, I want to figure out how to reduce inflation, I want to make sure that you can keep more of your tax dollars, we would all be like, oh, all right. Who would have thought that the Indian, trans, half-dude, anxiety, ADD person was the candidate that I wanted to support? That's the way I view politics. That's the way you guys view politics, which is I don't really care what your identity is. Do you have views that represent what I think is important? But that's not the way the left operates. The left's up there and they go, it doesn't matter what this person's saying. It doesn't matter what their intelligence level is. We gotta think about how empowering. We need to start finding women. We need to start finding minorities. Let's not look at their track record, their academics, how qualified they are for the job. What we need to do is find people who cross off these boxes, which is not, and by the way, we don't even do that. Like, is basketball more important than president or CEO positions? When it comes to basketball, you just get to be the best player. There's no one going, hey, we need more whites in basketball. We need more, you know what's underrepresented in basketball? It's 5'6" Jewish people. Who cares if it's the best and most entertaining version of the sport? It's more important that we empower that 5'6" little young Jewish boys can feel like they could be basketball stars. And when it comes to something as stupid as entertainment, we realize we want to see the best people out there entertaining us. We wouldn't for 1 second say, hey, you know what's underrepresented here? It's Asian women. we need to have more Asian women in basketball. Nobody says that. But some reason when it comes to running corporations, running colleges, running sales departments, running the country, all of a sudden we're excited by we have to empower these minorities. We need to have old people with dementia running the country so that other old people who have dementia can feel like they should still be working their jobs as well. This does not come from us. It clearly comes from the left. And as it comes from the left, Kamala Harris, who is a Jamaican Indian, as that appears on her birth certificate, when she won the Senate, she's up there celebrating, hey, I'm the first Indian senator. She's on other television appearances going, hey, I'm the first Indian lady. And that's the card that she wants to play is let's celebrate the racial diversity of that an Indian lady was able to achieve this. And then all of a sudden she's running for president and she's talking like a black minister, like a female Martin Luther King, and she's playing the, hey, I'm a black lady card. And so they ask her about this at the interview. They asked her a couple tough questions of, hey, you know, you guys were busted in this lie, you're busted in this lie, do you want to address it? And they basically just said, nah, we'd you know what, thank you for the opportunity to answer that question in the most favorable format and spin some sort of a lie, but I'd rather just not. And so she just didn't. They asked her, so what's the story? You're being criticized for the fact that you're claiming that you're a black person, but previously you didn't identify that way. And she just laughed and goes, I refuse to address that. Let's move on to the next question. And then the next day, I'm reading CNN, and they turn around and they go that she refuses to engage in Trump's identity politics. Is that what she's doing? Is she actually going, hey, let's have a conversation about the best ideas? Trump created identity politics. Kamala Harris was just up there being platformed for having the best ideas, for being the most competent person in the entire country. And she's not out there claiming, hey, you guys should support me because I'm a black lady. She's not playing that game in any capacity. And so when Donald Trump steps up and he criticizes her and says, hey, if you're going to identify as a minority for votes, aren't you identify as the wrong minority? That's playing racial politics, and Kamala Harris refuses to do so. The other one was Tim Walz. They asked him about his military record, and he just sidesteps in and goes, he had no answer. He had no answer. He wouldn't answer the question and say, I think it's wrong to disparage people who are